Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. On this video I'm going to be giving you my predictions for Man United's game against West Ham at Old Trafford. So I'm going to go for a Manchester United win, and the score I'm going to go for 3-1 to Manchester United. And the goal scorers I'm going to go with Marcus Rashford, Garnacho and Bruno Fernandes. On West Ham's goal scorer I'm going to go with Scamacca. So that is your predictions. On another video I'll be giving you my predicted 11 for this game. Manchester United are coming into this game on the back of a 3-0 win against FC Sheriff at Old Trafford in the Europa League. Reflecting on the win against FC Sheriff, Manchester United have qualified for the Europa League knockout stages. With still one game remaining in the group, Man United have won 4 games out of 5 in the group. The goals against FC Sheriff came from Diego Dalot. He scored an A-post header. It was his second goal for the club. It came from a Christian Eriksen corner, did the goal. Marcus Rashford scored a header which came from a cross from Luke Shaw from the left wing. And Cristiano Ronaldo scored on his return. It was Ronaldo's 701st career goal. Don't forget, Ronaldo missed a game against Chelsea as a punishment for Ronaldo refusing to come on as a substitute in the 2-0 win against Tottenham. Not so long ago, Ronaldo was at Carrington. He had showdown talks with Erik ten Hag over his Man United future. Manchester United drew the last league game away to Chelsea 1-1. Obviously in that game Casemiro rescued a point for Man United because he scored an injury time header. That was his first goal for the club. West Ham, they won their last game 1-0 against Silkeborg in the Europa League. West Ham are doing well at home. They've won 6 home games in a row in all competitions. Manchester United did beat West Ham in the league last season 1-0 at Old Trafford, but West Ham won in the Carabao Cup at Old Trafford 1-0, and that was the first time West Ham had won at Old Trafford since 2007. Well, that's the last time West Ham won at Old Trafford in the league. The players West Ham have got, they've got the likes of Pablo Fornals, Said Benrahma, he's a former Brentford player, Jared Bowen, who I highly rate. Jared Bowen has been out with injury. I think he's been back in training, so he could participate in this game. Scamacca has been a good signing for West Ham, scored quite a few goals. Maxwell Cornet, he's injured at the moment. Michail Antonio's an attacking player. Connor Coventry, Flynn Downs, Declan Rice is a very good holding midfielder. He's predominantly a holding midfielder, but he can also be deployed as a centre half. Man United were in for Declan Rice for a long time. West Ham actually did say at one point that the value Declan Rice at 100 million. He's not worth 100 million, but I reckon he's worth from between 50 to 60 million. Thomas Souček, he's good. Craig Dawson, he's out with injury at the moment. West Ham did get Craig Dawson from Watford. Vladimir Coufal, Lanzini, Angelo Ogbonna's a defender. Aaron Cresswell, he's a very good left back. Emerson, West Ham got him from Chelsea. Kurt Zouma, he's a centre-half, he's a former Chelsea player. Ben Johnson, he's a defender. Harrison Ashby. The goalkeepers West Ham they've got Lucas Fabianski, who is their number 1. They've got Darren Randolph and Areola. So they're a lot of the players that West Ham do have. Let me put into the equation that they've lost players. Don't forget West Ham lost Yarmolenko on a free. They let Issa Diop go. The loan Nikola Vlasic out. Ryan Fredericks is no longer at West Ham. They also lost Mark Noble. Mark Noble obviously was too old. He was at West Ham for a lot of years. Don't forget, a few years ago West Ham lost Andy Carroll. So there are quite a few players that West Ham have lost. The West Ham manager is David Moyes. David Moyes, of course, is in his second spell as West Ham manager. He got appointed in as the West Ham manager back in December 2019. He's in his second spell. So in his second spell he's been the West Ham manager for almost 3 years. David Moyes is under contract to West Ham until 2024. Last year he did sign a 3-year contract. Obviously, the season before last, David Moyes guided West Ham to a 6th place finish. And he got them to the knockout stages in Europe. Obviously, in Moyes' first spell at West Ham, he ended up getting sacked. Before, obviously Moyes managed Real Sociedad. I think he got sacked from them. He managed Sunderland before, got sacked from them because he got Sunderland relegated. Of course, he did manage Manchester United for around 9 or 10 months. He only enjoyed a short managerial tenure at Man United. Wasn't a good manager. Man United finished 7th under the David Moyes era. Obviously, before, Moyes managed Everton. To his credit, he was a good manager at Everton. He was a long-serving manager at Everton. He enjoyed around 11 years with them, and before, he managed Preston. So they're the clubs he's managed in his managerial career so far. Obviously, tomorrow, Moyes will be reuniting with Manchester United. As you all know, Manchester United have Raphael Varane out with injury. Varane came off injured in the 1-1 draw with Chelsea. He went off the pitch in tears. It's a thigh injury he's got. Obviously, Varane played no part against FC Sheriff at Old Trafford. So there you go. You know the news regarding Michael Edwards. Said Man United are close to agreeing a deal for Michael Edwards. He's a former Liverpool sporting director. He endured 11 years at Liverpool. As you all know, Edwin van der Sar dismissed talks of becoming Manchester United's director of football. Van der Sar was linked with that director's role for quite some time. If he had come back to Man United, he would have been reuniting with the club, because Van der Sar is a former Man United goalkeeper. Van der Sar's obviously CEO at Ajax. He's been a CEO at Ajax since 2016. Of course, Ralf Rangnick, he recently slammed the Manchester United board, like I updated you on. It said Rangnick asked Man United to sign Luis Diaz, Erling Haaland and 4 other targets, but they refused to back him. Rangnick, of course, was Man United's interim manager for around 5 months. He only enjoyed one transfer window as Man United's interim manager. Rangnick left Man United earlier on this year. Erik ten Hag replaced him. By the way, Pep Guardiola hails Manchester United's progress under Erik ten Hag. You know, Pep Guardiola's basically saying, you know, Man United are finally coming back. So you've got to credit Guardiola for coming out and saying that. Erik ten Hag, you know, I think he is doing a good job. You know, this is his first full season as Man United manager. You know, there has been games this season where I do like the way Erik ten Hag's approached them. There's been some games where he has got some decisions wrong, but despite that, I've not once prejudged him. You know, Erik ten Hag's expectations for this season is to get Man United a top 4 finish. And if he gets us a top 4 finish, I'd underline that and say that's a good first full season, then hopefully he will build from that. If we win a trophy this season, that'd be even better. Because Man United have not won a domestic trophy since 2017. But I've always said Erik ten Hag was a good manager, because revert back to when he was at Ajax, he did very well. You know, won trophies and that, developed young players well, got Ajax to the Champions League semi-finals back in 2019. You know, Erik ten Hag earlier on this year got named Premier League Manager of the Month. That's how good he's been doing at United. He's been the Man United manager now for quite a few months. He replaced Rangnick earlier on this year. He's under contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of an additional year. He's Man United's 5th permanent manager since Ferguson. So there you go. And Erik ten Hag, of course, has made 6 signings so far as Man United manager. You know, he brought Malacia in, Eriksen, Martinez, Casemiro, Antony and Dubravka. Man United have spent over 200 million this year. And let me put into the equation that Erik ten Hag has let players go as well, but despite that he's still inheriting Deadwood. There's still players from other managerial eras. Don't forget, you know, ten Hag was the one that recommended Mitchell van der Gaag and Steve McLaren in. They've been working alongside ten Hag, haven't they? Obviously we've got Benny McCarthy at the club. We've got John Murtough, Richard Arnold, Sir Alex Ferguson came back to Man United in an advisory role earlier on this year. And obviously the Glazers are still at Manchester United, unfortunately. But, you know, the Glazers have been a massive issue at the club for so many years, like I've mentioned on my recent videos. And we've got to get them out. And for a while, United fans have been protesting against the Glazers. The other week, it said the Glazers had set a price if they're to consider selling the club, and that was 9 billion. Sir Jim Ratcliffe actually came out and said that the Glazers don't want to sell Man United, because Sir Jim Ratcliffe did insist that he would have bought Man United during the summer if the club had been up for sale. The Glazers have owned the club since 2005. So there you go. But yeah, 5 managers have left Man United since Ferguson. Obviously Moyes got sacked, Van Gaal, he got sacked, but we did win the FA Cup under him. Obviously after Van Gaal we had Jose Mourinho, sacked him after like 2.5, 3 years. He enjoyed one good season at Man United because he won 3 trophies in his first season, but obviously didn't do well in his second season. After Mourinho, Manchester United had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We sacked him in November last year. He was the Man United manager for almost 3 years, and obviously after that we had Rangnick, and he left earlier on this year. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon.